Okay, hi there everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in to this applicant webinar that's being delivered by the Roehampton Abroad team. This is mainly designed for students and advisors getting ready for the spring 2022 semester, where we're hoping to welcome a lot of students from all over our various partner institutions this January. This session is just going to go over a few key things to expect from your upcoming semester at Roehampton, and then we'll have a bit of time at the end for a Q&A. I'll just briefly introduce myself. My name's Nat. I'm the Roehampton Abroad officer here at our campus in Southwest London. I will be one of your primary points of contact for students attending our study abroad program on one of our incoming programs. I'm also joined by my colleague Rob, who will also act as kind of the primary point of contact for student facing concerns in terms of answering your questions, being in regular contact with you as you gear up for your study abroad program. So you'll get to know both of us fairly well over the next few months, I'm sure. I know that many of you are at different stages in the process. Some of you have already received an offer to study with us. Some of you are in the process of applying, and some of you may still be making final decisions about where you plan to be next semester. But hopefully this webinar should contain useful information for all of you. Do raise your questions in the Q&A box, which you should find at the bottom of your Zoom window or at the top, depending on what kind of screen setup you're using. And also feel free to contact us after today's session. If you would like to chat to us further, we'll share details about how you can reach out to us at the end of the session. We're also going to be holding a pre-arrival webinar next month once our application deadline has passed, where we'll go into more detail about things like the arrival process, visas, orientation, that sort of thing, once all our students have been accepted and are on their way to starting their study abroad program with us. Okay, I'll start off with just a few facts about the University of Roehampton. We have a highly diverse undergraduate student body of about 7,500. Of that number, about 51% identify as students of colour and 70% identify as female. We're a collegiate university. We have 4 colleges that make up the university as a whole. Those colleges have a history and educational heritage going back all the way to the mid-19th century. Each college has its own unique identity and traditions. They're sort of like houses. And I will speak about them a little bit more later in this session. Another huge part of our student community is the Roehampton Students' Union, which is an organization run by students for students that supports a whole range of activities, including 60 student-led clubs and societies that you can get involved in. They also operate a wide range of activities with regards to social life, cultural immersion, volunteering and community activities and that sort of thing. And all this kind of amazing community and this very kind of inclusive environment can be found on our wonderful campus, which I'll talk about in a little bit more detail now. So we are the only traditional campus university in London. We have a beautiful 54-acre parkland campus in Southwest London, in one of the greenest areas of the city. The campus is currently fully open and operational, with teaching taking place in person and a wide array of social and cultural activities taking place. We have about 70 study abroad students on campus this fall who are attending classes and are thoroughly integrated into student life on campus. And we're obviously very much hoping to continue that momentum into the spring as we continue to rebuild the program and return to normality. And you will be able, those of you who will join us in the spring, you will be able to call this campus home during your time in London, because we actually guarantee on-site accommodation for all of our study abroad students. We'll be in contact shortly after the application deadline on the 31st of October to explain what action if any, you need to take in order to secure your housing. But the important thing to remember is we do guarantee that we will have a room for you on campus when you join us. You'll live in a flat housing 6 to 8 people, which will be a mix of UK and other international students. All of our bedrooms are single occupancy. You don't have to fret about who your roommate might be and sharing your space. You'll have a private bedroom that is all your own and will include, at the very least, a bed, desk, sink, and a closet space. That's in our standard accommodation. That standard accommodation also includes a shared kitchen and bathroom facilities. We do also have some other room options that you can choose to opt for a slightly higher cost. We have a limited number of ensuite rooms with private bathrooms adjoining. We also have premium rooms, which, as well as having a private bathroom, also have either a double bed or a balcony. These ensuite and premium rooms are subject to availability, so the earlier you request these, the more likely it is we can allocate you to one. Do get in touch with us if you're interested in securing one of these rooms, and we can give you a little bit more information. Meal plans are also available to purchase and can be used at any of the multiple food outlets we have around campus. However, the majority of our students will opt to prepare their own meals in their kitchens. So it's very much a kind of open opportunity. If you'd like to take up the option of a meal plan, it's there for you. But we do find students get on quite well without one as well, if that's something you prefer. We also currently have enhanced cleaning practices in place in our accommodation to limit spread of COVID-19. Okay. So I've already talked a little bit about some of the elements of campus life, but I'll go into a bit more detail now. Obviously, one of the things I did raise earlier was our colleges, which there are 4 of them to be precise, which are called Digby, Stewart, Froebel, Southlands, and Whitelands. All 4 colleges have very much their own unique atmosphere and culture. They put on social events, sports, community activities. There's also well-being support associated with each college. Each college has a student well-being officer assigned to it, as well as a college warden who can provide out-of-hours support in the evenings and over the weekends. We also, as I said before, have the Roehampton Students' Union, which is run by elected officers and acts as the voice of students on campus. There's a massive range of societies that you can join, supported by the RSU, that are related to anything from hobbies and interests, cultural and religious backgrounds, academic subjects, performing arts, and lots more. So if there's an activity you want to get involved in, there's a very good chance there's already a society available for you to join. The Students' Union is also responsible for the university's food sustainability project, Roehampton, which students can volunteer with to grow fruit and veg on campus, look after our chickens, or they can just enjoy the delicious food that they serve at the Hive Cafe, which you can see in the top right corner of your screen now, which specializes in sustainably sourced food and coffee. It's a very popular spot for students on campus. We also have around 30 sports clubs at Roehampton that are open to anyone who wants to take part either casually or competitively. We also have a new esports room on campus, which you can see in the bottom right corner of your screen now. We also have an esports society for anyone who's interested in video games or would like to get more involved. They cater to all different levels and abilities, and there's loads of different games and activities you can get involved in. The campus also features playing fields, basketball and tennis courts, and also a gym, which has favourable rates for students if you sign up early in the semester. Now and then beyond campus, you'll also find a wealth of things to do in the local area surrounding campus as well. We're in a really beautiful and exciting part of southwest London. We're right next to Richmond Park, which is the largest public park in London. We're also very close to fun and vibrant areas like Putney, Clapham, Wimbledon, Tooting, all with loads to explore. But we're also only 20 minutes by train from the heart of central London. And all of this means that you have the benefit of guaranteed accommodation on a close-knit campus community in a beautiful, green and safe environment, which will provide a really nice home base for you guys to find your footing. And then when you're ready to get out and explore, you have easy access to the full range of opportunities for cultural and social enrichment offered by, being in one of the most historic and diverse cities in the world. I'll go into a little bit more about what London has to offer as a place to study abroad shortly. We'll remain on campus for the moment, though, as I'll talk a little bit more about the support services we have in place at Roehampton. We aim to offer you an immersive study abroad experience where you'll be an integral part of our community, just like any other student. And as such, we always aim to make sure that our students are able to access the same levels of support as anyone else. So in examples of some of these support services you can access, I've already talked briefly about our wellbeing team, which can provide assistance with a range of student welfare issues. They're based in each of the 4 colleges and can be accessed through drop-in sessions, online and telephone advice sessions, or by email if you've got any concerns. And as you have a wellbeing officer assigned to your college, it's someone who's familiar with the environment you're living in and can provide a certain amount of personalized and detailed support. Our disabilities and dyslexia service can also provide tailored support for physical and mental health conditions and disabilities. If you do think you would benefit from any kind of support in that regard, we'd encourage you to reach out to them as early as possible. You can email them at disabilities@roehampton.ac.uk, and you can have a confidential discussion with the disabilities advisor about any kind of reasonable adjustments you might benefit from having in place during your time at Roehampton. We also have a multi-faith chaplaincy team on campus that offer a lot of community activities and support for students of all faiths or none to get involved in. We have a 24-hour security team who are always on hand to make sure students are safe and comfortable on campus, from anything as simple as, being locked out of your accommodation. Obviously, and if you do have any safety concerns while you're on campus, the security team are always there to help out. We do have a closed campus. The gates are locked at night, and you will need your student access card to gain entry, which means campus is a very safe and secure environment for our students. And then lastly, of course, we do understand that looking after your health and physical well-being is a particular priority for people in light of recent circumstances. And we want to ensure you have access to all necessary facilities and treatments that you might need. We have a health centre on campus where students can register and book appointments if they need to, and that can act as your local doctor's office while you're in London. You should also, we would recommend asking your insurance provider about services in the local area that you can access using whatever coverage you have. We also have COVID-19 testing facilities available on campus, and we also have vaccination clinics available in the local area. And in addition to all of these support services, you'll also benefit from a dedicated study abroad team that will provide guidance and support from the application process all the way through to your arrival in the UK and your orientation at Roehampton, and then all the way through to your eventual departure and return to your home university. Will be very much on hand and available to provide any support or guidance you might need as you navigate a new culture, a new academic system, a new environment. So we do recommend, obviously, that, and indeed we encourage you to reach out to us with any questions. anything you may need help with during your time at Roehampton, we're always willing to provide whatever support we can. Okay, so we do appreciate that the pandemic is still very much at the forefront of everyone's minds, and we do want to reassure you that the health and well-being of our students and staff remains our #1 priority. So I'm going to go now through a few of the safety measures we have in place on campus to ensure that everyone is kept safe, while we also make transition back to something more like normal life. We're following UK government guidance very closely and regularly reviewing our safety procedures to make sure we're keeping everyone safe on campus. And during the pre-arrival process, you'll receive regular updates on the latest guidance, and your on-site orientation once you arrive will also provide you with all the information you need to ensure your time on campus is safe and comfortable. As you may be aware, fully vaccinated travellers from a significant number of countries now are no longer required to quarantine on arrival in the UK or take a pre-departure test. This applies to travellers from the EU, the US, Canada, Australia, Japan, South Korea, and a number of other countries. So as long as you've been fully vaccinated 14 days prior to your arrival, you'll only need to complete a passenger locator form and book a day 2 COVID test, which you'll take after you arrive. If you've not been fully vaccinated under an approved programme, you will need to quarantine for 10 days on arrival in the UK. You can do this on campus, and we'll be in touch with more information about how this process works in a few weeks' time. You're not required to be vaccinated in order to enter the UK or enrol at Roehampton. However, we do strongly encourage all students who are able to get vaccinated to do so before travelling to the UK. If you're not able to get vaccinated in your home country for any reason, as I said, there are free vaccination clinics available in our local area where you can get jabbed very easily if you're not able to get your vaccine before you arrive in the UK. The university can also provide free lateral flow testing kits, and we encourage students to get tested regularly so that we can keep case numbers low, which is something we've done very successfully throughout the whole pandemic. Students are also asked to wear face coverings in all shared indoor spaces, and face coverings are also currently required on all public transport in London as well, unless you have a recognised exemption. We also finally have a dedicated coronavirus reports team that you can contact at any time if you need any guidance or support. And because of these robust procedures that we have in place, we have been able to teach in person very safely during this fall semester. All of our classrooms are risk assessed to ensure that they're COVID secure. And as I mentioned previously, we have enhanced cleaning regimes in place across campus. And this means we can offer you the kind of quality in-person academic experience that we know you all really want, in an environment that is safe and where you're looked after very carefully. You can find out more about our safety procedures by visiting that URL on your screen now, which is roehampton.ac.uk/coronavirus, and do feel free to contact us, of course, if you have any questions. Okay. So I'll talk now about obviously the most important thing about our study abroad programme, which is the academic experience you'll have at Roehampton. This is an overview of the subjects we cover in very broad terms. Please do feel free to ask any questions about specific subjects. The image you're looking at now is of our new library, which opened in 2017. It has 1,200 study spaces, 400,000 books, and also a huge range of digital resources and archives. It'll be a hugely useful tool and study space for you while you're at Roehampton. Study abroad students will mostly be in classes with UK and full degree international students, and will very much be encouraged to integrate with the wider student body and academic community at Roehampton. You'll take a full course load of 60 credits a semester unless you have a specific arrangement with your home institution, which means you'll take a different number than that. But the majority of you will take 60 credits, which usually amounts to 3 20-credit classes. Those of you who have already completed or started our application process will have submitted a short list of 8 modules that you would like to take at Roehampton. And we will use this list that you've provided to allocate you a full course load. You'll receive confirmation of your class schedule a few weeks before you arrive in London, so you'll have time to review your schedule and think of any changes you might want to request. Now, in addition to our standard academic offering, you may see that I have included this subject of London studies on this slide. So London studies are classes that we have created specifically for study abroad students. They're designed by faculty at Roehampton in a way that allows us to make use of London as a learning environment. So alongside in-class discussions, you'll go on field trips to locations around London. This might include galleries and museums, theatre performances, literary walking tours, visits to Roman ruins or architectural landmarks, or much else besides, much more besides that. And these classes really maximize the amazing academic, social, and cultural benefits of a study abroad experience, because you'll get a chance to explore a historic global city with a new group of classmates and friends, and then you'll use that experience to gain perspectives that you can interrogate and contextualize a bit more in the classroom. And I suppose that brings us on quite neatly to the really exciting thing about your study abroad program at Roehampton, which is that you'll be living in one of the best cities in the world. There's really so much to talk about. The great thing about London is, as well as the landmark locations in the centre, there's loads of smaller hubs of activity spread all across the city that all have loads to do. And I like this map just because I think it illustrates the kind of scale of places and activities that are on offer across the whole city. So lots of the locations that you'll be familiar with are in the areas of Westminster and the City of London, so your Houses of Parliament, Big Ben, Buckingham Palace. All of these places are really worth a visit. But London's real strength is the diversity and variation you'll find all across its different neighbourhoods. And I think one of the reasons that London is such a great place to study abroad is that it has a global outlook deeply embedded in its history and its identity. It's very much a city that people have been travelling to for a very long time and carving out little niches for themselves. And that kind of history of inbound travel and migration has culminated in a huge wealth of things to explore and discover in terms of cultural activities, food, festivals, the arts. And it also means that even though London can seem like quite a big and daunting place at first, it still very much has that character of a place where people can find a space where they feel comfortable, even if they're only here for a few months, like some of you will be. And as such, consistently, our students tell us that by the end of their study abroad experience, they feel like real Londoners. And so you'll very much be part of a tradition when you join us at Roehampton, students experiencing being a part of that international community for the time that they spend with us. Of course, if you ever do feel lost, we're always more than happy to help. If you need some hints or pointers in terms of finding your way around the city, all of the team live in London. I grew up in Southwest London, not far from where Roehampton is. So we're always really happy to point students towards interesting and fun things to do. We have, with that in mind, created a social program to help you explore the city as well as parts of the wider UK. This is an optional package created just for study abroad students. Trips will vary between each semester, but generally students have the chance to see famous landmarks, watch a West End show, visit towns and cities outside of London like Oxford, Windsor or Bath. As you can see from down the bottom, we have had trips go to Stonehenge in the past. And the image in the top right of your screen right now was actually taken just last weekend by our fall 2021 students who went on a trip to Dover on the south coast of England. All the trips are led by a fully qualified guide who will provide a lot of background information and history on the places that you'll visit. The social program is available to purchase online, but some of you may find it is already included in your program fee. So it's worth checking with your home institution if you aren't sure if it's already included for you. The price of the program will also include any tickets to attractions that you visit, and as well as if you're going outside of London for a trip, your transport costs will be covered as part of that program fee as well. Okay, so we are coming to the end of the initial part of our session now. So I'll shortly move on to addressing any of your questions that you guys have raised in the Q&A box. So as I said at the beginning, I know lots of you are at different stages in the application process. I believe Rob is going to post a link to our online application in the chat momentarily. There are two links. One is for fee-paying students and the other is for exchange students. If you're not sure which category you fall into, do check with your study abroad advisor at your home institution, as the program is slightly different, although the actual experience that you'll have will be largely very similar. But once you've accessed the correct link, you'll be able to begin your online application. We've kept our application as slimmed down as possible. That's very much deliberate, so you guys aren't having to submit loads of documentation. We've only really asked you for what we really need. The requirements we would need you to demonstrate is a minimum GPA of 2.8 in the US system. Do let us know if you're not sure what that converts to if you're a student from outside the US, and you'd like to know what the conversion for that is in your own country's grade system. As evidence of that, we just need to see a copy of your most recent transcript. If you do have a GPA below 2.8, do get in touch with us, because it is sometimes possible for us to accept students on a lower GPA. We may just ask for some additional evidence to submit alongside your transcript so that we can still consider your application. And then in addition to that, we would also just ask you for a personal statement of 300 to 500 words, just detailing your personal motivations for wanting to study in London and at Roehampton specifically. You can approach that from really any angle you like. We really want to get a sense of you as an individual and what your reasons are for wanting to join the program. Obviously, if you do have any questions about the application process, do feel free to raise them here, or you can contact us another time, and we'd be more than happy to provide any assistance you might need. Our spring 2022 deadline is Sunday the 31st of October. You may have, depending on your home institution, you may have a slightly different deadline that may be slightly earlier or later than that. So do check with your study abroad advisor for more specifics on that. But for the vast majority of you, the spring 2022 deadline will be Sunday the 31st of October. If you have any concerns about getting your application turned in on time, do let us know. We try to be flexible with you as much as possible, especially right at the present moment. We still know there's a lot of uncertainty that you're all dealing with, and that the process of making your decision and committing to a study abroad program may make sticking to a hard and fast deadline a bit tricky. So do let us know if you have any concerns about not meeting the deadline, and we can try our best to be flexible. You can visit our website, which is roehampton.ac.uk/Roehampton, for up-to-date information on term dates, costs, and lots of other things besides that. A lot of the content we covered in this session is also included on that web page as well. And lastly, I just wanted to share a few bits of contact information for us. You can access our email address here, and as well as that web page I already mentioned. You can also follow us on Instagram. We post a lot of stuff with detailing the activities and things that our current students are getting up to. So it's a good way to get a flavour of what you can expect from the study abroad programme at Roehampton. Okay, well, thank you so much for listening. I hope this has been helpful. I am now going to turn towards the questions that you guys have raised in the Q&A box. I think we've got a couple of questions in there. The first question we've got is, can we only take classes on the study abroad catalogue? So generally speaking, the answer to that is yes. The study abroad catalogue has been specifically curated so that these are classes that study abroad students can slot into without having met without having facing any trouble in terms of prerequisites or classes that they would have need to have taken prior to this. If there is a particular module that is not in the study abroad catalogue that you feel like you really need to or really want to take, do get in touch with us. We can see what it is possible to arrange, but as a general rule, we do try and stick to only those classes that are in the study abroad catalogue. So in general, that will be a fairly firm indication of the classes that will be available for you to take. Okay, the next question we've got is there a dress code at school, or do people normally dress more professional for classes? Is hair dye allowed, for example? There is no specific dress code whatsoever. Students wear outfits that are widely varied, to be honest. Some students are very casual, some students are a bit smarter. There's absolutely no restrictions on hair dye or any kind of formal attire required to attend classes. So there's, we're a very relaxed environment in that regard. Okay. I think that is all the questions we've got in the Q&A box for the moment. So what I'm going to do now is just stop the recording